Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into one of the biggest geopolitical shockwaves to come out of Scandinavia in years, a move from Sweden that many analysts say sends a chilling and unmistakable message straight to the Kremlin. What Sweden has just done is not just bold, not just symbolic, but strategically transformative, and whether you're following European security, the Russian NATO standoff, or the shifting balance of military power in the Baltic Sea, this development changes the conversation completely. So let's break it all down in a clear, powerful, and detailed way. Sweden has long been known for its policy of neutrality. For decades, indeed for centuries, it stood outside the major military blocs of the world. It maintained strong defenses, yes, but always presented itself as a mediator, a voice of diplomacy, and a country that avoided entanglement in the rivalries of great powers. But the world has changed, and Sweden's security environment has changed with it. Over the past few years, especially since Russia's actions in Eastern Europe, Sweden has been rethinking its place in the international order, and now it has taken a step that signals more than simple concern. It signals determination. One of the biggest developments is Sweden's rapid militarization and modernization strategy. This isn't a gesture or a symbolic budget increase. This is a full-scale national commitment to rebuilding a defense force that can operate independently and also cooperate with allies at the highest level. Sweden has ramped up defense spending, reactivated regiments that had been closed for years, strengthened conscription, and poured funding into cutting-edge military technologies. To understand why this matters, you have to look at geography. Sweden may not share a land border with Russia, but it sits right at the heart of a region where Russia projects military power, the Baltic Sea. Control of this region is crucial for Russia's access to Kaliningrad and its ability to pressure Baltic NATO members. Sweden's decision to rebuild its military strength directly affects Russia's strategic landscape. Another major factor is Sweden's integration into joint military exercises with Western partners. These exercises are no longer symbolic training routines. They are rehearsals for large-scale, multi-domain operations. Sweden is now practicing with European and NATO aligned forces on everything from cyber defense to coordinated air operations. For the Kremlin, this is a message that Sweden is no longer operating in isolation. While Sweden officially maintains its position as a sovereign military power, it now behaves like a country preparing to operate side by side with the world's most advanced militaries if necessary. This changes Russia's calculations dramatically, but perhaps the most powerful part of Sweden's announcement is its expansion of advanced weapons programs. Sweden has always been technologically innovative in defense, but what it is doing now marks a new era. The Gripen fighter jet, already one of the world's most capable and cost-effective multi-role aircraft, has been upgraded into a platform that can go head-to-head with far larger militaries. Its radar systems, jamming capabilities, stealth profile, and ability to operate from short runways mean that any hostile aircraft entering Swedish airspace will face a formidable opponent. Russia relies heavily on air superiority in its regional strategies, and Sweden's enhancement of the Gripen dramatically complicates that playbook. Sweden's submarine fleet is another major piece of this message. Swedish submarines are among the quietest and hardest to track in the world. Their AIP systems allow them to remain submerged for weeks, nearly undetectable by traditional sonar. In a conflict scenario, these submarines could monitor, disrupt, or even neutralize Russian naval activity in the Baltic. Sweden's decision to further expand and modernize this fleet sends a clear signal. It is preparing for a future where control of the Baltic Sea is not something it will outsource to others. On top of military hardware, Sweden has also invested heavily in intelligence and cybersecurity. Russia's cyber operations have become a central part of its strategy for influence and disruption. Sweden's expanded cyber command and intelligence sharing partnerships mean that it is no longer a soft target or passive observer. Instead, it becomes a frontline participant in safeguarding the digital infrastructure of Northern Europe. This alone shifts the balance in the information domain, a domain Russia depends on heavily. But the message Sweden is sending to the Kremlin doesn't stop at technology or alliances. It also comes from the political unity behind these decisions. Historically, Sweden's political parties have had varying positions on military policy. But now there is strong consensus that the threat environment is real and that Sweden must act decisively. Rarely has Sweden been this united regarding national defense, and unity is something Russia cannot easily exploit. When a nation of Sweden's size and strategic location speaks with one voice about deterrence, the message becomes loud and clear. Stockholm will not be intimidated. Part of Sweden's readiness involves rebuilding its civil defense infrastructure. This is an area many countries neglect, but Sweden has chosen to revive a Cold War-era system designed to ensure national survival in crisis. It includes public education campaigns, stockpiling, emergency communication systems, and the expansion of shelters. This is not a country preparing casually for hypothetical risks. This is a nation rebuilding resilience at every level. For Russia, that sends a powerful message. The Swedish state is planning, preparing, and refusing to be caught off guard. Another critical component is Sweden's strategic island of Gotland. Located in the center of the Baltic Sea, Gotland is perhaps one of the most important locations in Northern Europe. Whoever controls Gotland has a significant strategic advantage in the region. Sweden has refortified the island, deployed armored units, enhanced radar systems, and modernized coastal defenses. This move is viewed by many analysts as the clearest and most visible warning to Russia. Gotland has always been important, but now Sweden is openly demonstrating that it will not allow any external power to threaten or attempt to influence this vital territory. Beyond the military and political steps, Sweden is also sending a message through its partnerships. Cooperation with Finland, Denmark, Norway, and the Baltic states has intensified. These countries share common concerns and have increased intelligence, sharing, and joint readiness plans. Sweden's integration into these networks denies Russia the ability to isolate or pressure individual states. In short, if Russia attempts to apply pressure in the region, it will face a coordinated response instead of a fragmented one. A key element often overlooked is Sweden's innovation in drone technology and electronic warfare. Drones have become essential in modern conflict, and Sweden's development programs include autonomous systems capable of reconnaissance, surveillance, and even precision engagement. Combined with strong electronic warfare tools, Sweden can disrupt hostile drones, communications, and radar systems. Russia has relied heavily on drone tactics in recent conflicts. Sweden's countermeasures significantly weaken that advantage. Energy security is also part of the message. Sweden is rapidly reducing vulnerabilities by diversifying its energy sources and reducing dependence on external supplies. This makes it harder for hostile actors to exploit energy politics. Sweden's renewable energy network and domestic production capabilities strengthen its independence. In a geopolitical confrontation, energy resilience becomes a powerful form of deterrence, and Russia knows it. Sweden's message is not solely military, it's also diplomatic. It has strengthened ties with key global actors and positioned itself as a voice of stability in Northern Europe. While Sweden is preparing its defenses, it also continues advocating for dialogue, diplomacy, and adherence to international law. This dual approach undermines any narrative Russia may attempt to create about Swedish aggression or provocation. Sweden's stance is clear. It is preparing for peace through strength, not war through escalation. For Moscow, the timing of Sweden's actions is especially significant. The Kremlin is facing rising pressure on multiple fronts: political, economic, and strategic. Sweden's strengthened posture means Russia now faces a more unified and capable northern region. This alters Russia's strategic planning considerably. Instead of having open space or weak spots in its western flank, Russia now confronts a bloc of well-prepared, well-coordinated, and technologically advanced nations. Sweden's involvement is a crucial piece of that puzzle. In the information domain, Sweden has become more assertive in countering disinformation and propaganda. Russia often uses misinformation to influence public opinion or create political friction. Sweden's response has been early, proactive, and firm. It has implemented systems that detect and mitigate information manipulation. This not only protects Sweden, but also acts as a model for other nations in the region. As a result, Russia faces a more resistant environment for influencing public narratives. Sweden is also investing in long-range defense capabilities. Enhanced missile systems, coastal defense batteries, and anti-air systems bring a new level of deterrence. These systems can deny access to hostile forces attempting to enter Swedish airspace or waters. Russia depends heavily on the ability to move forces quickly and establish dominance early in a conflict scenario. Sweden's strengthened defense makes that strategy riskier and less predictable. The Swedish public is also more engaged in national security than at any time in recent history. Awareness campaigns, preparedness initiatives, and transparent communication from government agencies have increased public understanding of the challenges facing the country. This creates a society that is more informed and resilient. For a potential adversary, a nation with an aware and unified public is significantly harder to destabilize. Sweden's defense industry plays a role as well. It is not only strengthening national capabilities, but also exporting advanced technologies to allies. This supports partners, enhances collaboration, and spreads resilient defense solutions across the region. For Russia, this widening network of capable nations and shared technologies presents an increasingly difficult environment to influence or intimidate. Another element that sends a powerful message is Sweden's commitment to rapid mobilization. It has reintroduced systems that allow it to mobilize its reserves quickly and effectively. This reduces the risk of being caught by surprise and strengthens deterrence. A country capable of mobilizing large numbers of trained personnel in a short period is far less vulnerable to sudden threats or pressure. Internationally, Sweden's role is expanding. It participates actively in discussions around European security, Arctic strategy, and global stability. Its voice carries weight because it pairs diplomacy with preparedness, and that balance makes Sweden a respected and influential actor. If the Kremlin expected Sweden to remain quiet or passive, the reality is quite the opposite. Sweden's military reforms also include improvements in logistics, infrastructure, and mobility. Bridges, roads, ports, and airfields are being reinforced to support rapid deployment. These developments ensure that Sweden can move forces efficiently across its territory or coordinate with partners if needed. A modern military is not just about weapons, it's about the ability to position them effectively. Sweden understands this and is acting accordingly. In addition to traditional military strength, Sweden is embracing hybrid defense, combining civilian and military capabilities to handle complex modern threats. This includes protecting critical infrastructure, maintaining secure communication networks, and preparing for scenarios involving sabotage, espionage, or cyber attacks. Russia often uses hybrid tactics, and Sweden's readiness in this area significantly reduces vulnerabilities. One of the clearest messages Sweden sends is that it refuses to be intimidated. Its actions reflect confidence, readiness, and strategic awareness. Russia's efforts to pressure or influence the region have instead led Sweden to strengthen itself in ways that were unthinkable a decade ago. What Sweden has done is send a message that reverberates far beyond its borders, a message that says, unequivocally, that sovereignty will be defended, that independence is non-negotiable, and that aggression will be met with resilience. The Kremlin cannot ignore this shift. Sweden's actions complicate Russian planning across the entire Baltic region. Sweden's modernized air, sea, land, cyber, and intelligence capabilities are now part of a larger ecosystem of European security. Sweden's transformation from neutrality to strategic preparedness is not just impressive, it is decisive. So, when we say Sweden just sent a terrifying message to the Kremlin, what do we mean? We mean Sweden is no longer the quiet observer on the sidelines. It is a fully prepared, technologically advanced, strategically positioned defender of Northern Europe. It is a nation that has looked at the changing world and chosen strength, cooperation, and resilience. Sweden is telling the Kremlin that pressure will not work, threats will not work, provocations will not work. Sweden is standing firm, strengthening every aspect of its defense, and aligning itself with partners who share its values and strategic vision. And that, more than anything, is what makes this message so powerful. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this detailed breakdown, make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more deep dives into global events shaping our world.